Hey YouTube, this is AZ Papa Les coming at you today. And today we're going to talk about swaging. That is the process of removing the crimp that they use to lock in the primers on the, especially the military 223 and the 7.62 by 51, I believe, or the 308 cases. There's a couple different options out there for you, and I'm going to talk about most of the ones that I know. And what I happen to own is the is an RCBS die that the part number on it is 09495. It's the primer pocket swager combo. Excuse me. I still got some funnies in my throat from being sick. Anyway, it includes the die, both the small swager and the large primer swager. And what I have in here is the small rod, which looks just like this. This happens to be the large rod. And the end here is cupped so that when it goes inside the case, that you hit the anyway, you hit the top of the primer pocket. You use the same die for both. You just unscrew this outlet and screw this rod all the way up into the die and then tighten it down. RCBS has obsoleted this part number 09495, and they have replaced it with 09481. Let's confuse everybody. The only difference is here in the rods. These rods, when they were first sold, they're kind. You can bend them. Not so much the large one, but the small one. And there was constant complaint and nagging early on about bending the rods. So what they did is they went and they made them out of a newer material. It's twice as hard as these, and that's what they're shipping. That's the only difference in the kit. And then the other part of the kit is this, which slips over the top. And what happens when you come down to the bottom of your stroke, it pops off the brass, because the brass will fit real tight on this the swager part here itself. You'll see, and there's other guys showing this swager combo too, also even, but this is this information and part numbers is up to date as of today, because I called and I talked to RCBS to make sure I had the right information and what the differences were. If you happen to have the old version here, the 94, 95, and you do bend a rod, all you got to do is call up RCBS and they will ship you out a new rod, and the rod they send you out will be the new harder rod, so you don't have to worry about bending them in the future. RCBS, their customer service is top rate. I mean, it's kind of like the Dillon, no bullshit warranty. They don't care if you were the 25th owner or the first owner. If something breaks and doesn't work right, they'll make it right. So, anyway, the way I do this, and it helps to increase the speed, is that I start the case up in the die here, because getting it on that pin, because that pin is just barely big enough to fit down the neck of the case. If you try to start here and come up, you play hunt and fetch. Whereas if you just come in at an angle and go right onto the rod, that's all you got to do. And then just as you bring this up, let me adjust this down a little bit. down a little bit. And then the quarter turn, and see how she does. You can feel that brass pop onto that. And when it comes down, like I said, it's stuck on there. And when you go all the way down, it releases, and there you go. And the primer pocket, oh, it's actually pretty good. I got it first try. And you just tighten this down, and you proceed to go on your way. And like I said, if you just come in at an angle, and we'll come in from the other side, and catch that, I mean, it just goes right on there. And it's just so much faster. And there you go, another one done. When I'm going through, sometimes I've got a whole shoebox here of brass that needs to be done. If you're anything like me, sometimes you can get 200 or 300 done, and you're interrupted in between. And what do you do? And what I do is I usually just take a piece of paper, and I write on the piece of paper, okay, this box has been deprimed, all the primers have been removed, and that's it. So I'll just write deprimed on the piece of paper and put it in that box. And then as I go to this next step of swaging the primer pockets, in the next box, the next thing I'll do is write on there that it's deprimed and swaged. It's ready to go. Then when I'm ready to start resizing the shells, as I get them done, I put them in another box, and it says deprimed, swaged, and sized, etc. And then the next step is trimming the die, or trimming the brass to length, and then I'll put on there trimmed. And that way I know each way along the way what has been done to that box, what I need to do, because I can, you just catch as you catch can. So it's just another little hint for you. So, because sometimes you can sit down and get everything done in one day, and that's not a problem, but my household, it doesn't work that way. I get a little bit done here, a little bit done there, so sometimes it's 2 weeks before I get a chance to sit back down, or 2 months before I get a chance to sit back down and finish doing what I need to do on the brass, and you just won't remember. So always just stick a little piece of paper in your brass as to what you've done to that brass, and you know what the next step needs to be. Like I said, this is the RCBS die setup. A lot of guys complain that it's not fast. It's not as easy as, say, the Dillon setup, but I think the new ones are out there, and I think I've seen them for roughly about $30-ish, $35, $33, something like that. Different places, Midway and Midsouth and Natchez and a few other places. And it's a good, inexpensive way to swage your brass. The other way is to get cutters and to actually cut the crimp out of the die. Swaging, what it does, it pushes the crimp back into the shell, and you're not losing any brass. When you take the cutters and cut it, you're actually removing brass. And I'm just not a real big fan of removing brass from my cartridges unless it's up here to trim to length. So I prefer the swaging to the cutting brass. By the way, RCBS has announced, and I know a couple of places that already have them on order, Midsouth and Midway. It's a bench-mounted swager. The part number is 09474, and it's brand new. Both Midsouth and Midway say they're supposed to have parts in-house this month. It's February 2012. The list price on it's $105.95. Street price is a lot less than that. Both Midsouth and Midway have the new swager listed at $78.99, which is a lot cheaper than what Big Blue wants to charge for theirs. And it's very similar. Instead of pulling down to swage, it's got a cam handle that you turn sideways like this, to activate the swage. And it's a bench mounted, just like the Dillon. It's actuated in a little bit different way. And for $79, that's a lot cheaper than paying over $100 for the Dillon. Dillon kind of has had the corner on that marketplace, and they pretty well make you pay for it. So it's good to see somebody else coming into a bench-mounted solution for swaging your primers. If you're doing a lot of primers, like you'll do with 223, especially because you just go through so many rounds so quickly, having these will pay for itself, and being able to take care of the Lake City brass, which is who has the current contract for the military surplus, or for the military 223, the 5.56 cases. PMC also crimps their primers in, I believe Privy Partisan does too, as does some of the Winchester that comes out. But anything that you see that has the NATO cross, little, where is it? These are all miscellaneous. I don't have any Lake City, I don't think. Yeah, it's just a little circle with a cross in it, the NATO symbol on all the brass. There's a little Privy Partisan. No. Huh? Oh well, I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time trying to find one for you to show you. But this system, once you get used to it and you get a rhythm, and like I said, once you start coming in, and you can catch that rod with the shell, it just goes in, and it just swings. There's no friction on the case itself. The only place it's going to get friction is when the rod makes contact inside the shell, and that forces the crimp out. And like I said, it's just quick and easy, and you can feel it, and away you go, and it's done. It's nice too to come back, and as you're doing it, if you want to check the brass to make sure it's in fact, that it's already been swaged, you can put it on there and you can tell right away whether it's gone down all the way or not, if it's a tight fit. And that's what you want. You want a tight fit. You don't want a real sloppy fit on here. And that way your primers will seat properly and have a good seal on them. So that's really it. If you have any other questions or comments, post them down below. And keep an eye out for that new bench-mounted RCBS primer pocket swager. It's a bench-mounted unit, and like I said, both Midsouth and Midway have it on their system right now for $78.99, and they're expecting units in anytime from mid-month on from RCBS. So thank you very much. Take care, and remember to keep smiling, because it makes people wonder what you've been up to. Take care, YouTube. Bye-bye.